Ernie 94.1. Seriously, there's a station called Ernie 94.1 that started this morning. Actually it's called Journey 94.1, but I call it Ernie 94.1 because it's such a stupid thing to call their station. They call their station Journey 94.1. So of course I call it Ernie 94.1. It's just obvious. They call it Journey like the band. Like it has something to do with the band. But actually the first song was by them. The first song they played when they went on the air was Don't Stop Believin'. But they should have played Rubber Ducky because I call it Ernie 94.1, so they should have played Rubber Ducky. But then, because of the second song they played it Ain't Grover Till It's Grover by Lenny Kravitz. So it really is a Sesame Street themed station. Get it? It really is. It really does have a lot to do with the old Sess. And the third song they played was Katy Perry, who almost got to appear on Sesame Street. But then she didn't get to be on Sesame Street because some right wingers complained. Katy Perry, I'm afraid of Katy Perry. It's Katy Perry. Get that away from me. So the first three songs almost solidified this station as a Sesame Street themed station. It really does. Because they all had something to do with everybody's favorite show. I mean, were they going to play St. Elmo's Fire next? Or Count on Me? Is that what they're going to play next? And this station, though, but seriously, aside from the Sesame Street stuff, most of it has nothing to do with Sesame Street. Like now they're playing Bryan Adams. Can you believe that? And this station acts like they're so innovative, but they're playing the same stuff that other stations have been playing nonstop for 20 years. Like Roll With It and things like that. They think that's cutting edge to them. Now, I can justify playing with it as long as they play other stuff. If they're going to play something from 20 years ago, it should be something that you don't get to hear much anymore. Or at least, now I can justify playing with it as long as I could justify them playing something like Roll With It or something as long as it's mixed with stuff like that. But no, they have to play this. They have a playlist of about 6 songs. Yeah, that's the story of Ernie. They played that. That was Now a lot of this stuff is stuff from the 80s that they play. It reminds me of back when Casey Kasem used to play it. I remember I always used to listen to Casey Kasem every Sunday. And he always told stories about people who were on the countdown, about bands and singers and stuff who were in the countdown. Like there's one of them. I don't think it was Journey, but it was some band like that. I remember he talks about he was always told the story about how one of the band members was too young to play in nightclubs, so he glued a fake mustache to his face. He glued a fake mustache to his upper lip so he could play in nightclubs. But then, during the concert, the lights in the nightclub were so hot that the glue on his mustache melted and it started sliding down his face, and it almost went into his mouth. where he almost swallowed it. How humiliating it must have been to nearly swallow your own fake mustache. I can't say that it's ever happened to me, but I would be thoroughly embarrassed if it did. So that's what Casey Kasem always used to say. And he always used to tell these stories. He always used to say, "I'm Casey Kasem," before it. Remember that? Remember Casey Kasem used to do? He always used to go, "I'm Casey Kasem." And I remember this. So right then, when the mustache started sliding down his face, he was kicked out of the nightclub and charged with violating child labor laws for being too young to be in a band. Not only that, but he violated underage drinking laws too. But now, he's on our countdown this week at number 17. Moving down 10 notches. It's Pooing is Cool by the Pooing is Cool Singers. The first song about pooing to enter the top 40 since the Poop Song by the Monkees back in 1967. So that's what Casey Kasem always used to do. And he was cool, but then he was replaced by Shadoe Stevens. Remember him? Remember Shadoe Stevens? Wonder whatever happened to him. But he was funny too, and he was cool and funny. But yeah, that's I wonder what they're playing now on Ernie 94.1. It's some boring song I've never heard before. Which is all pretty much what most of the newer stuff they play is. But they specialize in boring music. But for the most part, now see, if they're gonna play something, they should play stuff that you don't get to hear much anymore. They just don't get. They just don't get reality. That people aren't going to listen to their station unless there's something to draw them in. It has to have a gimmick or a reason for being. Not just a gimmick, but a permanent reason for being. But radio people are not too bright anymore. And I was in radio. I was a radio person. But now radio people just aren't, they're not receiving. I give them these ideas on radio forums and stuff, but they're not receiving. I can tell them how to fix their station, but they don't listen. And then when their station ends up getting a one share in the next Arbitron, they say, "Oh, this wasn't supposed to happen." And they're perplexed that nobody's listening. So then they change format again. Or usually they don't even change the format. They just change the name of it to something even stupider than it was. Like Journey 94.1. That's the stupidest station name I've ever heard. Now, it's not a bad name for a band. But it's a stupid name for a station. Because I've already started calling it Ernie 94.1. And they should have seen that coming. You know, in a town full of Sesame Street fanatics, they should have seen that coming. And not only that, but the fact that their first 3 songs they played had something to do with Sesame Street. Even if only remotely. See, they played the band Journey, who I call Ernie. Then they played It Ain't Grover till It's Grover. And then they played Katy Perry, who almost got to sing a song with Elmo.